Good day, this is Jason Boehm Lai. We got an upcoming election happening here in Canada, and a few things to say about the environment that hasn't been said before. Let's take Earth Day 2009. I've said this to Trudue, I've sent it to him in email, never got an address. He always says raise poverty out of poverty. There still hasn't been in 20 years living in poverty completely, from the street to social service and being forced to live on disability because of broken back. I can't carry my backpack around anymore. They have a excessive force of a view of hate propaganda by the RCMP towards my life and other people who are in poverty. They think they're doing good by putting us in BC housing and John Howard societies, jail-like situations where you don't own anything. Yes, it is slavery to always have to rent off of somebody and never own something, and minimum wage is never good enough to live by. When you keep raising minimum wage and all it does is make life the same because inflation of houses go up as soon as minimum wage does, it doesn't make sense. Just look at all the ratios from 1900 till now. And jobs, look at the factories in 1850 to 1900. They moved them all to Asia, where Chinese people and Malaysia people and Indian people from India could work for cheaper labor because land prices were cheaper too. Now we all fight for human rights since World War II. That's right, equal protection before and after the law. You get tossed into a psych ward because hate propaganda or torture, mind games with the police and actors around you always assaulting you, and repeating things that people have already said before about the environment and protection of the people that never get done, just since Kennedy. You'll see that in a second. When is true justice going to be occurred when the biggest criminals of organized crime is our government? That's right, they look after the education, the laws, and what the value of money and land is. And if we're always renting, like I said, it's serfdom and slavery, like in a past video. It's election time, so let's see what happens. We are going over here. I only got one monitor, as it says across the way, and I'm working on a better picture. We're going to go close my picture right now. Display capturing, and here's what it says.
If we do what is right now, in 1963, we must set aside substantial areas of our country for all the people who are going to live in it by the year 2000. Where 180 million Americans now live, by the year 2000, there will be 350 million of them.
Either we stop the poisoning in our air, or we become a nation in gas mass, groping our way through these dying cities and a wilderness of ghost towns that the people have evacuated.
The great question of the 70s is, shall we surrender to our surroundings, or shall we make our peace with nature and begin to make reparations for the damage we have done to our air, to our land, and to our water?
And accelerate development of technology to capture energy from the sun and the earth for this and future generations.
If we fail to act soon, we will face an economic, social, and political crisis that will threaten our free institutions.
We must and will be sensitive to the delicate balance of our ecosystems, the preservation of endangered species, and the protection of our wilderness lands.
It's been said that we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. And when our children look back on this time and this place, they will be grateful.
If we fail to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases, deadly heat waves and droughts will become more frequent, coastal areas will flood, and economies will be disrupted. That is going to happen unless we act.
And here we have a serious problem. America is addicted to oil.
No. Do you get that? These great leaders have said it so many times. A little girl stands up there and rages in the United Nations. Is it an act or not? Hey, Ronald Reagan was an actor. And what did Lincoln say? All men are made equal. That's right. All human beings are made equal. There's one body part or two body parts different in a man and a woman. And that's the middle genitals between your legs. and that a woman can produce a baby inside their womb, and a man has to give them the seed for a fertile soil, like the farmer on a field looking after the field. If you can't grow on it and get a yield, it's no good. Since 1850, there was 66 million buffaloes roaming. Now we got fences and cities taking up the wildlife area, corridors, and look at Russia. All the trees in Russia compared to the second largest country, Canada. The trees are missing. The buffaloes are missing. The birds, the hawks, the eagles, the owls, the waterways, as Serena Fox says as well. You can't just say this is the river in front of a city and it's polluted. You have to look upstream where it's coming from. Like the Comox Valley, Mount Washington, it comes down what we call the Solom River, and it has cyanide in it as well. The problem started up the hill and came down the hill. And as all plumbers say, all shit flows downhill, or things do as well. A river is an aqueduct on the surface of the earth. All roads lead to Rome, and remember, if great leaders can't say it, that's my stove, my laundry's done, sorry. If a great leader, supposedly what they call him in the United States, says this about the environment, I don't think it's going to change much what a young girl's going to say, raging like that at them as well. And the 10 Commandments, that I shall not harm or kill another person with negative influences that will harm them in any way, or any medication, which is a criminal offense, that speeds up the natural death of a human being because of chemical warfare. Invagacina is a chemical warfare. It reduces hormones in the body. They add estrogen to your body that causes obesity, diabetes, lack of sleep, and so forth. And if you're not taking their medication, they have actors assaulting you, even family members who don't like you. In the grounds of divorce, mental cruelty is a reason not to talk to people anymore and get divorced. Same with financial difficulties. So if your little brother is going to play mind games, and your mom too, and borrow money and not pay back, I guess it's grounds of divorce as well. And you don't go to a psych ward for that. And for uttering threats and common nuisances, and what's the other one? Causing a disturbance, yelling in public, being drunk in public, and peeing or urination or defecation in public, doesn't say take somebody to a hospital, which is hate propaganda. Somebody's negative views of somebody else's life to execute somebody in capital punishment as well. Trudue and the rest of the campaign officers, when are you going to look out for the people and the people of the country? This is our home and native land, Canada. The jobs have to feed the people first, which is money, and be properly housed. And like they said in high school, we live in serfdom if we're always renting in history class. And if you're not feeding us with a job that's adequate enough, just like family violence, you are abusing the people. There's not enough full-time labor that's adequate enough to live an adequate life in this short lifespan. Shouldn't I live 600 years too, like Noah? And like our daily bread, a simple cookie or a piece of chip. There's our reading for the day. Hope you all the best. And in your last campaign, Trudue, you sure didn't do what you said. Stand up for poverty and raise them out of poverty. I didn't get any new education in the last 4 years to get me out of this as well. Only more psychological abuse, torture by government officials. And there's no legal aid for anybody who gets tossed into a psych ward under their forms. And if the Mental Disorder Act in the Canadian Criminal Code book, our 10 Commandments of 1010, says that as well, so be it. You have to have money for legal help, equal protection before and after the law, and a rightful jury, a fair trial within a court system, not a doctor. Under Section 17 or 7 of the Charter, you don't have to accept any medication or any treatment you don't see fit. And, hey, I can't trust the RCMP anymore. In the triangle of love and trust, you have to trust somebody to feel protected by them. Then we can't have them. And I have to leave my country as a refugee one of these days. But I'm detained in poverty and have no way to walk anymore because I don't have my adequate hormones. Everything I say is a federal offense that the RCMP have assaulted me for over 20 years in family violence. and using my family. I'm a sponge off taxpayers' money, according to my mom, my dad, my brother, and a few others. And I'm sick and tired of it. I don't have health and fitness anymore and can't even run properly or breathe properly. I'm gasping for air right now. You just don't know it. Please, have a great day, and don't elect any of them, because nothing ever changes, because we don't have a national vote for any change other than the Quebec referendum for separation. We didn't have one for gayness, gun control, or anything else. Decisions of actors assaulting us in Parliament, misleading the people, just like workplace harassment. I went to work for 2 weeks and never had my wages paid for me. That's workplace harassment. You lied to me, got me to work and didn't want to pay me, and assaulted me in torture as well. Yeah, I didn't get abused in slavery. There's your proof right there, and what they've done to my body, from being a student in physical education to not even be able to breathe or walk properly anymore and have balance. You don't want to listen properly with foreigners being terrorists in government systems. Anyhow, our biggest criminal is our government, as far as I'm concerned, organized crime. Take her easy. This is Tuesday, the 24th, 2014 in the Comox Valley, and the temperature is an overcast of, what's it say? 10 degrees. Bye for now. This is Jason Boehm Lai, RJBL TV, and Roscoe Gaming on Twitch and YouTube as well, if you ever want to check out me live streaming for my entertainment, because I got nothing better to do and have no friends or families that I spend time with because I'm poor and impoverished in Canada.